Hey everyone, this is Elias from RevMatch Media, and today we're going to be taking a look at the 2022 Jeep Compass Limited. Now, this thing is giving me mini Grand Cherokee vibes. Well, let's go ahead and check it out. We get started in the front and we can see iconic Jeep. We have the, I guess the 7-slat grille. They are covered, yeah, but you know, it does have a good design to it overall. We do have this velvet red color. This color is really, really nice. It's like a really dark wine color, but it looks good. Oh, it looks like velvet, but I do love that. The headlights on this are really nice. They do illuminate a lot, almost to the point where I feel like they might be aimed a little too high, because when I would turn them on, I would see like if it was, you know, illuminating further than normal headlights would, especially in low beam mode. But yeah, although though, they definitely do have a nice look to them. And we have the nice little fog light here. We have a nice little brushed aluminum accent at the bottom, with this being the Limited. But yeah, overall, it's a nice little Jeep front end. Well, let's take a look and see what we have under the hood. We get under the hood and we have the 2.4 liter inline 4 cranking out 177 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque. That is connected to the 9-speed auto and then going to the 4x4 system from the Jeep. Now, a couple of things with this. I am not a big fan of something going on in here. What I mean by that is the performance, even though it only has 177 horsepower, which nowadays is very small, it should be plenty. With my car, my Golf, that had 110 horsepower, it felt better. It felt better than this. It was... There's something, it must be the transmission, the gearing or something that just off the line, it's extremely slow. Even in highway speeds, it's extremely slow at responding as well. So you're needing to everything, you're having to really hammer down the gas pedal to even get it going. And then it has to drop so many gears, and they're long gears too. So it's not like it can just drop 1 or 2. It has to drop a good amount, and you're still in a long gear. So there's just something that isn't pairing up correctly with this. The only thing I can think of is really the transmission ratios. The other thing with the cruise control, so the adaptive cruise control that this has, that also has felt like a teenager. It's felt like a teenager where, like, it's, you know, if a car moves away with the radar detection and everything and it sees a space, it's flooring it. It's flooring it, and then if it detects you're getting too close, it's slamming on the brakes to the point where I had to turn it off. And I was just driving it myself. Yeah, there's just something happening with this that I am not a fan of. This says, it's a shame because I really like everything else around this Jeep except for the drivetrain. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in those wheels and tires. We take a look at the wheel and tire package and we have the 18-inch wheel option. I do like the design of this. I do like the face that is that polished aluminum look, and we have the colored black inserts in there, and it is wrapped in the 225/55 Continental tire, and this has been pretty good. It's been super quiet, no complaints about grip. In fact, maybe too much grip because, or at least this little 2.0, I say little, but a 2.4 is a pretty big for a 4-cylinder. Just hasn't had the power to get these things spinning or, you know, lose traction. So they definitely have a good amount of grip to them. And I say lose traction in the sense of have some fun, really. But yeah, these have been really great, quiet, comfortable, and even on long road trips, no complaints there. The brakes have also been really good. They have a good meat, like, grab to them, so you can definitely get this stop, especially when I had an emergency situation where a trailer's tire came off and literally ended up 5 feet in front of me. So coming down from 75 to 0, because our highways, Texas highways, 75 miles an hour is the limit, and yeah, this thing really got me stopped. So I am thankful for this wheel and tire package. and the brakes that got me stopped safely. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have on the side. We get to the side and we can see we're definitely getting mini Grand Cherokee vibes. And that's a good thing because it looks nice. I do love the shape, and I do love, again, the velvet red with the black top and some of the black accents. And again, that nice chrome just kind of frame here around the top of the windows. So overall, looks a nice design. We also have the 18-inch wheels, which we can see good proportion to the Jeep itself. And as you can tell, this is actually pretty high up. It feels lifted almost, to the point that when you get out, you do have to kind of watch your step. So just be ready for that. I wasn't really expecting this, because typically in a CUV, you're fairly low, more on a car level height. But yeah, this definitely has some height, and I can see with the Trailhawk, easily get on those trails and have some fun. But yeah, we have, again, the colored mirrors here. We have the 360-degree camera. We have the compass badging, and yeah, it looks nice. I like it. Well, let's go ahead and see what we have in the back. We get to the back and we have some really nice design cues. I love these taillights. They definitely have some heritage to them with Jeep. So they have a nice design. Again, they're nice and sunken in, and I like the way that this taillight shines. The brake light, it looks kind of like the Terminator red eye light. It has something about that that's really cool, really nice to that. And again, we have the 4x4, the limited badging. We do have some plastic covers here. And exhaust tips, not bad. They do show a little bit there, and they are connected. They're not fake tips. So a couple of things with the key fob. We'll go ahead and actually just open this up. So we press there and we open up, and we actually have a good amount of space in here. I was actually surprised at how much space there is. Overall, the space is actually really big, and when you put those seats down, it's even bigger. So there's a ton of space back here. There are a couple of Easter eggs in here. We have the Jeep little logo up here. We also have it on the speaker back here on the subwoofer for this Alpine system, which we'll take a look at later. But yeah, definitely a nice open area. And when we go ahead and close it, there's kind of like a typical thing where you're looking up to see if there's a button, but with this, the button is down here. I'm still missing it, but I can tell you it's been useful because you don't have to really reach up or, you know, reach high to get this thing closed. So having it there is nice. We also have it on the key fob. And with the other thing on the key fob, you press the button twice, a couple of beeps, and there we go. It fires up that 2.4 liter engine, and now we get to go for a ride. We get inside of the Compass, and typically I'm not a fan of gray, but this looks nice. And the reason why this looks nice is because we have this like cognac looking leather accents to different parts of the interior, which really help that gray out. So let's get started on the door. And like I mentioned, we have that like, it's like a deep almond, like cognac looking color. It looks really, really good. And yeah, we have basically the door, nothing special about it. The top part is a little uncomfortable because this little area here isn't big enough to kind of rest your arm there, so you are having to go low on the armrest here. But the Alpine speaker is there. This sound system is incredible. This thing, definitely you need to outfit the Compass with the premium Alpine system. It sounds great, clear and super loud. Then we get to the seats, and like I said, they're gray, but they're super comfortable. They do have the heated and the cooled option, which is a nice touch. And you know, you can just adjust them, no issues, really long road trips, and had no complaints about that. Then we get to the steering wheel. Now, there's gonna be a lot to the steering wheel here, so hear me out. The steering wheel itself is nice. It's got this premium, definitely a premium leather to this. It feels extremely good, really soft, but it still has a firm shape to it. And where my finger dimple, you know, where this has like the little indentations or dimples, I guess, my hand feels so comfortable and so nice in here. And we have some buttons that, you know, are typical to the Stellantis family, so to speak. We do have the controls on the right for the cruise control. We also have on the left, we have the buttons for just the, you know, controlling the gauge cluster, which we'll get into. And my favorite, of course, in the back, we have the buttons to go to the next track. So I can go to the next track there, and next track, volume up, volume down. Really nice. Makes it available for this front here. Now, the feel of it we'll get to in the performance section, but we get to the gauge cluster, and the gauge cluster is an all digital screen. It's nice, but there's a couple of things that I'm a little confused about with the, I guess I don't know how to change it, but I tried. One of the things is how many miles left do I have? And this is the only view I can see. I do have my gauge cluster, my gas gauge down there, but sometimes it's good to kind of see how much, especially in a car that you just got or that you only have for a week. It's nice to have the mileage. Granted, however accurate it is on any real car, but it would be nice to have as an option. So we have that, but then you're able to, you know, just see a slew of just a ton of options. Very similar to, like I said, the Jeep Wranglers, that just gives you an array of information, you know, whatever setting you're in. And one of my favorite things, which is new with the Jeeps, is that multi-view mode. So that little button there gives you the option, like right now I can see my trip information, my PSI for my tires, my speed, the speed limit, and the song that I'm in, and the drive mode. So I do have all these options. Honestly, it would be nice if I could customize where they are positioned and what information is displayed, because there's a lot of other information that the Jeep offers that would be nice to show there, but it doesn't. And again, I'm coming back to the Chevy Tahoe. I know, significantly bigger, significantly more expensive, but that gauge cluster was really nice because I have these different zones, those four zones basically, and I can choose what I want them to show me, which again, like I said, was really nice. But overall, the information is pretty good what we get here. We get to the infotainment system, and we have the UConnect 5 system. I love this system. It is really nice. As you can see, nice big screen, vibrant. It really is, I love it. It's just a really good system. A couple of things. I was looking for the cooling and heating for the seats, and I forgot, yeah, you have a quick shortcut there, which is a nice little system to have when you wanna even just AC controls. So you can stay in the Apple CarPlay world and just tap on that, and you have that information there to change if you don't want to fiddle around down here. Now, again, with the Apple CarPlay, really nice screen. My only issue that I did encounter with it is it was dropping my wireless Apple CarPlay, because this does have, with it being UConnect 5, it does have wireless Apple CarPlay. It was dropping it a couple of times. I don't know if it's just my phone, but I haven't experienced that with other systems that have Apple CarPlay. So I don't know if it's a software update that's needed, but I did notice that, to the point where on my long road trip, I almost reached for the cable. But every time that I did, it would come back. So it's kind of like it knew I was ready to plug in. So yeah, so that was one of the things where just be aware, if it starts doing that, you may want to reach out to your dealer and see what's going on. Or, I mean, it could be my phone, but like I said, I haven't had any issues with other systems. Either way though, really nice system. We get down here to some of the parking buttons here. We do have the option of auto off for the engine, traction control, lane assist, and we have the hazards, parking assist, and the actual like park system that it can park on its own. My only gripe with this side of buttons is they're not illuminated. So at night, if you're needing to kind of reach for these, mainly the hazards would have been nice to have just as an illuminated red, should you need to park and put those hazards on. The park anywhere button really isn't, but yeah, that just my little nitpick at that. We come down here to the AC controls. Very simple, very straight to the point, no issues there. Very clean design as well. And again, this leather color is just so nice here. We get a little bit lower and we have the wireless charger. This charger is really good, but you have to make sure you place your phone correctly. So there is a little bit of a lip here which helps you, but it kept hurting me in the sense of I kept placing it on there and I was thinking, okay, it's on there, why isn't it starting to charge? And it was just a tad bit on it. And obviously that's not going to make contact. So just be aware, make sure when you place it, pro tip, little thing, that you place it on there and you let it charge. We come back a little bit more and we have the gear shifter, which is actually really nice. I like the feel of this. I like the shape of it. I like the button too. Like it made me want to just constantly be pressing the button, but it felt comfortable, and either top grabbing or side grabbing, it was really good. Too bad it's not a manual, because yeah, this shifter begs for you to want to use it as a manual. And then we have your electronic parking brake. I had to use that because this doesn't have brake hold, or at least I couldn't find it. I was looking for it everywhere, no button. So just activating the park brake, it'll work kind of similar to that. We then have the drive modes. We have sand, mud, snow, and then auto. It's been in auto 99% of the times. I switched it just to see if there's little animation. There is nothing big, something little small animation on there, but yeah, that's the drive modes. If you go with the Trailhawk, you do have the rock mode in addition to these as well, which would be cool. Yeah, I think I'd probably go Trailhawk, because luxury is nice, but off-roading is so much fun. But you still have some luxury amenities in that. Yeah, luxury touches. We have the cup holders. The cup holders are really nice. They're pretty big. My favorite little part is that little middle thing. So if you have a secondary, if I have a passenger and they need to put their phone somewhere, I like to use that. It's apparently for the key, but I like to put my phone there. And we come back here to the armrest, and the armrest is really tiny. It's really tiny. It's not that wide. It's really only for like one arm, one arm width. So your passenger is gonna be kind of bumping you a little bit. But we have that, and it does retract forward and back. So you have that function. And when you open it up, it's a fairly small size. So nothing too like, whoa, you can shove everything in there. It really isn't. We get to the back, and the back seats were pretty good. Nothing like super big, but plenty of comfort in the back seat. And you do have the heated option in the back as well, which is a nice touch to keep your rear passengers in comfort. Then we get to the trunk. The trunk area was pretty big. It was pretty deep, like when you open the tailgate and going towards the front of the car. I loaded this thing up to the brim. I put the seats down. You do have to put the seats down from the inside, and I was able to go ahead and actually pack a bunch of boxes in there with the added space. Now let's talk performance. We're looking at the 2.4 liter inline 4, cranking out 177 horsepower and 172 pound-feet of torque. That is going through the 9-speed auto and through the 4-wheel drive system that this has. I'm really not a big fan of this drivetrain. Something is not right. The gears feel really long. The engine feels like it has less power than it does, and I think it's because of the gearing, but also the programming of this. So I don't know, the shifting, something is just off. Here's what I mean. When you're needing the passing power, it doesn't have it. I'm accelerating, really hard, like literally pedal to the floor, and it's barely moving. It's having to first, there's a huge delay with having to shift down. So it is having to shift down a good amount of gears, and then we feel somewhat of power. Now, I get it, 177, I shouldn't expect a huge amount of power, but I've had my Volkswagen that I had, now junked, had 110 horsepower, and this felt better. That felt better. It felt better than this 177 horsepower. I don't know what's wrong, but it, like any movement, I have to floor it completely to get anything. And even from you know, you're just kind of going at 35 miles an hour, and you need to just, again, pass someone, it's struggling. It really is. I wish we could shove the 2.0 turbo from the Wrangler in this, because that little guy, even smaller, obviously than the 2.4, would definitely be better. I doubt we can fit it in there because of the positioning of the engine, but I feel like that would be a better base engine. Now, and that's the other thing, this is the only engine you get in the Compass. Yeah, I don't know if it needs, like I said, transmission tuning or something, but it's just not feeling right. The other thing is the steering wheel. So I mentioned wanting to speak to the feel of it. There's something I hate about this. And I know hate is a strong word, but the part that I love is the fact that if you just move the steering wheel a little bit, it'll want to correct back to center. Now, the actual wheel, not any safety or anything like that, but it literally, it's like on a rubber band. Like, you just kind of pull it and then it just wants to go back to straight, which is great because on a curve, it has such a great resistance. It has such an amazing feel to the wheel itself that I've fallen in love with this on twisty roads. On twisty roads, this has been incredible because of that. Like, you're feeling, because of that resistance, you're feeling what's on the road, and you're feeling, you know, when the tires are getting grip and when they may not be getting grip. So that feel has been incredible. The reason I don't like it is because on everyday highway driving, you're doing micro adjustments, and it takes a large amount of effort to do so. And now you're having to just kind of do, you know, if you're driving with one hand, you're doing these micro adjustments, and then again, it just kind of snaps the steering wheel straight, so then you're just having to correct. So that's the only kind of downside to it. So on a long road trip that has a lot of straight roads, this can be a little tiring. If you got a lot of twisty roads, this is definitely the setup you want to have. It is so much fun when you're driving those twisty roads. Now, who is this for? Typically, when we have an entry-level SUV, it's something that is the gateway to the brand. With this being the entry level for Jeep, I don't know if it really represents what Jeep is. I love Jeep. I love the Wrangler. I love the Gladiator. I love the Grand Cherokee. I love the the Wagoneer. Yes, I know it's Wagoneer brand, but Jeep still. But I love all their lineup, and it's a shame because the entry level can be that make or break for someone maybe upgrading down the line. And with this being the entry level, it might, at least in my experience, it might deter them away. Look at Buick, the Encore. I was so adamant of this is gonna be a horrible car, and it was an incredible car. What does it have me doing? It has me looking at Buick as an option. I would have never in a million years thought, mind you, unless we were in the 90s, then that's a different story, but I don't know. I'm just so lost with this. And the 90% of that is definitely the drivetrain in this. I don't feel like it's up to par for Jeep. I feel like that 2.0 is definitely the engine that is an entry-level engine and can really deliver the power for a vehicle like this. But yeah, what would I pick over this? I would probably go with the Buick in that case. But even then, I would probably go Grand Cherokee. I would definitely splurge and just go straight, you know, no entry level Jeep. Just go to either Wrangler or the Grand Cherokee, because I love the Jeep brand, but again, that drivetrain is just not doing it for me. Well, guys, I hope you've enjoyed my review of the Jeep Compass, and remember, find the right gear. See ya. There you go.